YouTube, what's happening? It is Wednesday, July 10th. You can see we have a huge baseball slate. There are 17 games to talk about today. But first, drop a like, subscribe, share if you haven't already, because you can see, hey, we survived yesterday. Went 8-7. Somehow, I thought I was going to be worse than that. It was a wild day in baseball. Minus 0.56 units. Hey, we paid a little tax. It happens. Still up great for the week, the month, and the season. Season, we're at 83. The goal is to get to 100. We're slowly chugging along to it. So we have 17 games. I don't have time to waste. Drop a like, subscribe. Let's jump to that first game right now. All right, first game, we got the Royals and the Cardinals, game one of the doubleheader because they did not play yesterday. You could see that St. Louis is a slight favorite at home. 8.5 is your total currently. Looking at the bats, we see 63.6% nervy based on what they've done this year. For the bats, 4.3 for KC for 18th in the last three games. St. Louis, 6.7 for fourth, so big advantage for St. Louis. 280 batting average for sixth. St. Louis is batting 302 for fourth. KC doesn't strike out much. As you can see, they're number one in the last three games with 5.7 and 8.7 for St. Louis, which is 15th. So St. Louis has the advantage of the bats. It's pretty straightforward with the runs. Batting average wise, there's only a 22-point difference, so 6 and 4, they're both batting pretty good, and KC just doesn't strike out. So we don't, if anything, we might look at under strikeout props for Palante in this one, just because we know how much KC doesn't strike out. So let's pop on over to JDBetsHQ. Let's talk about Palante first. He has a 4 ERA with a 1.44, has not faced KC recently, and around here, I like recency. What have you done recently? I don't care what you did 3 years ago. I don't care what your career against somebody is. I want to know what you've done the last few times you faced somebody or your last few outings. We're recency biased. That's what we are. Don't care. That's what we are. That's how it works. That's what we do. So here you can see he had a 6-6 game here, 3-0 against Colorado, 5-1, 7-5, 4-0, 4-1. Not bad. This is a terrible game. Outside of these two games, not bad. They did pretty good in some of these games. Strikeouts, 5, 5, 5, 4, 6, 1. So we know he's pretty consistent with the strikeouts. We can see that. If anything, we could pop over to Outlier right now and take a look at his props, because why not? And there's only one prop up, and it's strikeouts. And then let's look at the over. It is looking 3.5. Whew. So if you don't know what this is Outlier. This is where I usually get all my props from. A lot of information. I get my odds from here now. I do my props here now. We're looking at team totals here now after yesterday, which went 1-0. Thank you, Texas. So we're using Outlier for everything. If you like this system, this software, whatever you want to call it, there's a link in the description. You can go check it out for free. You get a free trial for a week. If you like it, then you can sign up. But either way, it's free. Why not? Check it out. Link in the description. But here, 3.5 for Palante is, I thought it was going to be 4.5, to be honest. I don't know if I can go under. That's under 3.5 strikeouts is wild. Oh, but it is KC. We'll think. Let's pop back over here and look at his counterpart. We got Alec Marsh, 4.7, 126. Hasn't faced St. Louis. He gives up runs multiple times, and then he has a gem against the Yankees, which we know the Yankees haven't been batting too well. 8-3 against Texas, 4-1 against Cleveland, 6-5 against Tampa. Marsh gives up runs too. What's that total again? 8.5. And the bats are both batting. The bats are batting. We'll put it that way. The bats are batting. I might have to rock with an over. I might do it. Just because both these pitchers have been shown they can get blown up. And yeah. Yep, we're going to do that. We're going to add that to the list right now. Over 8.5. Because both pitchers are getting blown up. That's what I'm going to rock with. Whatever I say I'm taking is what I'm taking. You don't have to take what I'm taking. I don't give you picks here. You don't get picks. I give you information. I give you data. And at the end of it, I say, I'm going to take this. If you want to tail at your own risk. That's all I got to say. Because if you're here following me specifically for my picks and nothing else, that's on you. I don't know what to tell you. That's on you, because I'm a high volume bettor. I bet you can see. I bet about 15 times a day. So, and that's just in baseball. Wait till football gets here. Whew, it's way worse. So buckle in. It's a bumpy ride sometimes. So we're not going to take this. We're not going to take a side in this one. The bats are pretty close, outside of Casey not being able to get as many runs, but they got 10 runs in their last game. So bats are pretty equal. I don't want to take St. Louis. We took the over already. I'll let's look at Outlier and look at Marsh's props and see if he has anything. Marsh. He also only has Ks. Okay. 4.5. I don't like that either. So, all right. Yeah, we're not going to take either prop in this one. We're not going to take, we're not going to take a Nerfy, even though the Nerfy is highlighted. I don't trust these pitchers, and the bats are doing pretty well. For a Nerfy, I want pretty decent or better pitchers, and I want struggling offense, like 20s on batting averages and 20s on runs for to even consider a Nerfy. So here, nothing here is indicative of a Nerfy. So we'll pass on that. We'll pass on aside. We're taking the over 8.5. Nothing else, and moving to the next game. All right, next up we got Twins White Sox Part 1. This is the makeup game from yesterday that got rained out. So this is the one we got Ober versus Fed. We went over this yesterday. Breakdown was pretty good. I think only thing I took three things in that thing. I think I took the over Minnesota and Ober. All three got wiped out in this one. So a little too much coffee going through me right now. I'm a little hyped up right now. So let's see. Here, Minnesota's 155 favorite, best number you can see. Now, Outlier has implemented Bet 365 into the mix. They're getting there. You can see look at all these books they got. Now, if they can just get me some Hard Rock in there, we're going to be cooking too. So, hey, they just added 365 yesterday. Great addition. Love that. Over under of 8 now. Looking at the bats, we see 61% Nerfy, but I mean, if you want to take a Nerfy against with Minnesota playing, by all means, light your money on fire, because you're gambling at this point. Because number 4 in offense, 6.7 runs, number 1 in batting at 360 as a team. The whole team is batting great, and they've been doing it. They've been over 300 for the last 2 weeks. So hey, enjoy it, have fun. So 7.3 strikeouts for 4th. When you're batting that well, who cares? You're not even striking out much. That's how on fire Minnesota is. Chicago's 4.3 for 18th, 206 for 27th, 10.7 per strikeout. So what are we looking at here? Nerfy's a pass, not when you have a hot offense. We're going to look at how yesterday we took Ober strikeouts. Probably going to do it again, because you see they're striking out a ton. When you're in the bottom 5 in strikeouts, I like to look at the pitcher props. I took the over because why did I take the over? What was I thinking? The over doesn't even sound good right now. Well, no, we'll see. Let's dig a little bit deeper into it. So let's pop over to the pitches, and let's pop over to Ober first. So we see his game log. He has not faced the White Sox. I took it because he has been shown to give up some runs. That's why. And it was against Pittsburgh and New York. He threw some pretty good against Oakland, which is, to me, it's Oakland. 2-1 against Seattle, 9 strikeouts. That's what Seattle does. And 7-1 against Detroit. So he hasn't faced the most stellar team. So I see why I took the over now. And I believe I said Minnesota might even get the over themselves, because Feddy, however you want to say his name, he's not bad. His worst game is a 4, but he's probably going to give up a couple here and there. So we could even look at Minnesota team totals in this. I'm becoming a team total guy. I know a few of you are excited to see that, because I'm finally doing it. So pretty soon I'm going to start betting more first 5 lines and showing those on here. And I know a few of you would be happy for that too. So I'm growing. This is a growth channel. We're baby steps around here. We're growing. So pretty soon I'll be walking and hitting me on the table. So let's go to props. Let's start with Ober. Earned runs I wasn't going to do. I did strikeouts because it was plus EV. That's right. Expected value, it should be around 127. I believe it was 140 yesterday, and yet it's only 108 plus 108 on the books. On FanDuel's offering 108. So cool thing about this, it shows you plus EV on Outlier. Love this little setup. It shows you the stats and everything. I'm a stats guy if you haven't figured that out. So that's what my business degrees are, basically focused around statistics. So let's see, 6.5 is the strikeout number. Was it 6.5 yesterday? I think it was 5.5 yesterday. I think it went up a little bit. Ooh, that's why it's plus. It was 5.5. 196. Oh, hell no. You lost your mind. I don't think so. Do I think Ober can get 7 strikeouts? Ooh. Yeah, he's been on fire recently, and he's facing the Sox now, who are striking out. You know, we're still going to take it. We're still going to rock with Ober. We're going to go over 6.5K. I think it was 5 yesterday. So, oh, okay. We're going to pay a little more, but we're going to get some plus positive EV on that. I will rock with that. No problem. And we'll look at Feddy, however you want to say it. You see here, hits over 4.5 hits. That's a fun one, I think. I didn't do that yesterday, but I think because Minnesota's so hot right now, over 4.5 hits. I can see them just blooping singles and doubles down the road, maybe in a home run or two. Yeah. He's only done. Yeah, I like this. I like this more than over strikeouts, to be honest. You know what? I like this so much. I'm taking over strikeouts off. Over strikeouts is going away. I don't like that number now. So we're gonna go over Feddy, over 4.5 hits for Feddy for sure. Strikeouts, no. Earned runs, nah. Walks, nah. I'm 2-0 on walk props now. I've noticed because I hit the walk and wheeler yesterday. That was nice. Might have to play some more walks. You got anything else? Your earned runs is under. I don't. 1.5? Come on, books. The books are trying to rip us off. That's all they're trying to do. I mean, that's their goal, right? Is to rip us off. So okay. All right. So I am taking Minnesota money line though. Let's just be honest. Got to do that. I mean, it's 155. It was like 170 yesterday or 180. So now it's even lower. I'll take Minnesota money line. I think Feddy gives up a few hits. As long as he gives up 5 hits throughout the whole game, I'm okay with that because you can see he's gonna pitch innings. He's gonna 6, 6, 7, 6, 7, 5. He's gonna pitch at least 6 innings. I think he can give up 5 hits. So we're gonna take Feddy over 4.5 strikeouts. Minnesota money line, which will end up going in a parlay at the end of the day. Then money line parlay. We're not gonna do over strikeouts. That's a change. Mix it up a little bit. So we'll do that and move to the next game. All right, next up we got Twins and White Sox Part 2. Double header of the day game too. So they're back to back. They're going to finish one game and go right to the next game. So this one, Minnesota is a little bit more of a favorite at 170. Total is 8 currently. Looking at the bats, we just saw this screen. It's the exact same information because this information updates based on the games they played. So keep it short. Minnesota offense good. Chicago offense bad. That's all we got to know. Pitchers. Pablo is projected to go out there with a 5.18 with a 1.19. You can see he has not faced the White Sox, but he likes to give up some runs. 8.6 here, 7.5 here, 4.7 here. He's either going to give up 1 or 2. He's going to give up 6 or 7. That's where you're going to get with him. So that's the thing. Now, does he strike out? 6, 9, 14, 3, 5, 4. Yeah, we'll look at his strikeout prop against Chicago, who is, as you see, struggling in the strikeout department. So, and his counterpart is Mr. Drew Thorpe. 371, 113, has not faced Minnesota, as you can see, 3-1, 2-2-2. Outside this Arizona game, he's been pretty good. Let's be honest, these last 3 games have been pretty spot on. These are pretty good games. So, in my opinion, Chicago has the pitching advantage of this one. Just saying. I mean, he looks good. Pablo, we don't know what we're going to get out of Pablo here. So, let's pop over to some props, shall we? See if anything stands out there. Let's see. Let's do Pablo first. All we got are strikeouts for Pablo. 6.5. Ooh. Over 6.5 is minus 104. He's been under 6.5 except for these 2 games. And this was against Oakland, which makes sense. In Seattle. Okay, so we're going to... If Seattle's one of these 2, yeah, we expect that because Seattle's always in the bottom 2 or 3. Oakland's been in the bottom couple recently too. Any of these stand out as bad teams for strikeouts? No. I mean, he's probably going to hover between 6 and 7 today. That's my guess. He's either going to finish with 6 strikeouts or 7. Some people are going to get burned. Some people are going to make money. I don't want to be either one because nothing really stands out here, so I'm going to pass on his prop. And for Thorpe, all we have is strikeouts, and we only have 5 total games to look at, and that's not enough information, so we're going to pass on that as well. So no props in this one. We go back over to the bets. We see that everything's on fire. We go to the odds. Okay, so we're not doing props in this one. Do we want to take a side? I think Thorpe is the better pitcher. Just straight up. That's what I'm going to say. So I don't trust Minnesota money line, to be honest. I don't trust it because we see what Pablo can do, and we know Thorpe's better just from the few games. Okay, just stats. So we know the bats are better. I'm not taking a nervy, not with these pitchers. So if anything, the only thing I might even look at is the total of 8. And the fact we got 2 pitchers here. He's had 1 game he got blow up. Now he faced Detroit, Colorado, and Miami. three of the weakest offenses. Now they're facing Minnesota. That's indicative you might be able to get blown up. I mean, you might be a firework today and get lit and boom. You never know. Lopez, he has been blown up several times. So to me, I think in this one, I might rock the over of 8. Nothing else in that one. I think nothing else standing out. I think runs can be scored in this one. So for this one, we're going to go over 8, nothing else, and move to the next game. All right, next up, we are in Chicago and Baltimore. We see that the Orioles, after getting just bent over a barrel last night, they're still a favorite today, minus 174. Ooh, is the best number out there. 8.5 is your total. Looking at the bats, we see after last night, there's been a shift a little bit. Nerfy, 48.5 based on what they've done this year. 4.7 for runs for Chicago for the last 3 for 13th. Baltimore 5.3 for 10th. 248 versus 271 on batting average. Advantage Baltimore. 9.3 versus 8 on strikeouts. Chicago's bottom 10. Baltimore is in the middle of the pack. So here, there's not much of an advantage. Batting average, there's none with a 23-point difference, and that's not much of an advantage. 0.6 run differential, not much of an advantage, so no real advantage to the bats. Let's look at the pitchers, see what we got. We got Mr. Burns here, 232 with a 102 when it's not faced the Cubbies, 4-1, 5-0, 7-2, 5-4, 9-1, 4-2. You can see none of his games are bad. I mean, this is his worst game. He still went 7 innings, gave up 4 earned, and 2 home runs. Okay, that's your worst game? If that's your worst game on the screen, I will take that as your worst game. We know he's probably going to be closer to the 2 range because he has a 5-0. You cancel out the worst one and the best one, and you can see what you got left. You got 2s, a couple 2s, and a couple 1s. That comes out to a nice, just below 2 average. I take that. We take that. We take those games. Showed on the other hand, every time I see that, I chuckle. 11, 10, 10. That's just, ooh, buddy, that's bad. And threw me off a little bit. You haven't faced Baltimore. 7-1, 5-2, 4-1, triple digit. He did a triple double. Look at him. Put him in the NBA. 5-3, 6-3. I mean, if you take out the worst game, you take out the best game, you're probably still going to give up at least 3 runs, is what it looks like. So we have a 2-ish and a 3-ish going up against each other. The bats are, they're middle of the road. Nothing's really standing out for the bats. The odds have Baltimore as a heavy favorite, and I don't know why. So, because nothing's standing out. Because for me, the pitching, you see the pitchers. Is Corbin Burns so much better than Mr. Shota here that it warrants a 175? I don't think so. The bats don't say so. I don't think so. And they just got destroyed yesterday. I'm a trend guy. What happened? You got beat yesterday? You might get beat again today. So we're going to lay off a side. We're going to lay, what's that total? 8.5, but the bats are just, those bats aren't that good. The bats are middle of the road to top middle. With these pitchers, well, let's look at some props because nothing else is really standing out to me. So first thing, we'll go Burns first. That's the first one that popped up. Earned runs, 2.5. Over is, they're expecting some runs here. Okay. Oh, that might tell a different story a little bit. Huh. Strikeouts. Oh, yeah, he is consistency on his strikeouts, is he not? Hits. No. Walks? Nope, no walks. All right, let's go over here to, yeah, he strikes dudes out. 4.5. Whoa, hold up. 4.5 is pretty low. Why is it so low? Why? Let's go back. What is Baltimore strikeouts? 8 a game for 11th. That's intriguing. He's hit that a lot, and then Milwaukee only won. Milwaukee doesn't strike out much. Makes sense. Mets are up and down on strikeouts. They're a roller coaster. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. And San Fran is middle of the road usually. So St. Louis, let's see, White Sox, Philly strikes out a lot recently. That's interesting. Let's see what else I got. Hits, 11. Ooh, earned runs, walks. 4.5 looks fun, and Baltimore's struggling. I think I'm going to take some Shota over 4.5K. I think I got to. I think I have to. Burns, I don't like anything with it. I don't like its sides. I don't like the over under. I don't like the nerfy. So all we're going to take in this one, I'm going to take Shota over 4.5 strikeouts and move to the next game. All right, next up we got Seattle and San Diego, which for 640 for me means 340 for them, which means this is a day game. So interesting. We can see San Diego is decently favored. 134 is the best number to have out there. 7.5 is the total. That's something to look at. Looking at the bats, 53.7 nerfy. With these offenses, they're like middle of the road. And these pitchers, maybe we'll see. I don't know. Runs 5.3 versus 3.0. Advantage Seattle. It's 10th versus 25th. 264 versus 214 batting average in their last 3 games. That's the advantage for Seattle. You can see the trend lines are doing their things. And strikeout, Seattle will always be top 3 award-winning strikeout teams in the majors. They struck out 12-time average the last 3 games, including 11 in the last game. And San Diego struggling a little bit on the strikeouts, 15th in the last 3 games for 8.7. That's not very San Diego-esque. They're usually in the top 5 of just not striking out. They're struggling a little bit. That's something to look at. Let's look at some pitchers. We got Bryce Miller going out there for Seattle. 8-2 against Baltimore, 5-2 Minnesota. 666 against Miami, 6-2, 2-0, 6-7 against KC, 3-0 against LA. Has not faced San Diego. So he has a couple games where he's been blown up, and it's been not the best teams, because this is when KC was pretty cold on offense. Beginning of June, Miami's never warm. They're always bottom half on offense. 5-2 Minnesota, 8-2 Baltimore. Nothing's really standing out too much here. Let's go to King. First thing I'm going to look at King is nothing else is strikeouts, because 5, 6, 8, 6, 12, 5. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pop on over to Mr. King, a strikeout prop, just to go. It's Seattle. You got to always check a strikeout prop against Seattle. So, strikeouts, swap that to an over. Oh, he is consistent, is he not? 7-6 is where he likes to hang out at, and they put the line 6.5. Of course they did. And he's only hit it over in 40% of his last 10. Oh, he's only hit over like 5-6 times a whole season too. Oh, no. Okay. The books figured that one out. Okay. But the hits, we'll come back to that. So, all right, King, we can see 4-1. He has not faced Seattle, and his worst game was Milwaukee. Milwaukee has a habit of doing that to pitchers, having them blow up a little bit. So, nothing outside of that Milwaukee game. He has great stats: 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 4-2, 5-0, 4-1. You eliminate your worst game and your best game, you got a bunch of ones. So I will take that 10 days a week, no problem. So in my opinion, Michael King is a better pitcher than Bryce Miller. So advantage San Diego. With the bats, advantage Seattle. So that immediately cancels out the money line. We don't take a side when they both butt heads. So can't take a side there. 7.5 is total. Let's talk about the total a little bit. We see the bats. Seattle's doing well. San Diego's 25th in both runs and batting average, and they did worse than 133 in the last game. So nothing indicative of them helping out in the total. I can't take an over, not with them. With these pitchers, can they keep it at an under? Where you go? Come back. There you go. Can we keep this at an under? Miller might not allow that. I mean, he's facing San Diego, so I'm not liking that either. So nothing, I can't take the under, or I can't take the over. I'm not taking a nerfy. I'm not taking a side. All we have are props. So last thing to do, pop over to Outlier, come back and finish what we're looking at. San Diego facing, I think Seattle's top middle on offense right now, but I don't think I can take that. Earned runs, I don't trust that. Let's pop the last 10. Looks better. Walks. Oh, wait, it's Seattle. Seattle doesn't walk. That's right. They strike out. So, hey, okay. All right, we're not taking King props. Okay, so all we need are Bryce Miller. It's the only thing we need. So let's pop, see what we have for him. Earned runs. Nothing is standing out. Ks. San Diego is starting to strike out some, which is weird. It's 3.5. Yes, that number is that is fishing right there. They're trying to get you to line up right there. It is plus value too. It should be 152. Ooh, you know what? But against my better judgment, I did the same thing with Gilbert last night. I didn't love it. I went with it and it worked. It was an EV value play and I did it. So we're going to take Miller over 3.5 Ks. against San Diego, who doesn't strike out much because they're starting to strike out a little bit, as you see. 15th. That ain't good for them. So all we're going to take in this game is Miller over 3.5 strikeouts. We're not going to take anything else and move to the next game. Next up, we got Cleveland and Detroit. You can see that Cleveland is a slight favorite, moderate favorite on the road. Total is 7.5 out there. Looking at the bats, we see that the Nerfy 54.6 based on what they've done this year. We'll see. We'll see. Offenses, they're both getting 4.7 runs a game, which is 13th in the last 3 games. 267 versus 288. That's 9th and 5th. They're both in the top 9 when it comes to batting averages. That ain't good for a Nerfy. So, and strikeout 7.7 and 7.3. They're both top 8 not striking out. So Nerfy's already in jeopardy. And the bats, there's no advantage. They're about the same. So far we know nothing. Let's look at some pitchers, see if they can tell us something. Reese Olson is pitching today. 3.22 to 1.18. Has not faced Cleveland. 12-8 against Milwaukee. There's that Milwaukee again. 10-4 against Washington. 4-hit gem against Atlanta, but it's Atlanta. If you take the name off the chest and put another name, you'll think, oh, this is one of the 10 worst teams in baseball, because they actually are. But no one wants to talk about that because of the name on the chest. So, hey, I digress. 4-2 for the White Sox, 5-2 for the Angels, 3-1 for the Cincy. So you can see he's doing better. You eliminate his worst game and his best game, and you got a bunch of 2s. You got still got a 4 and a 5 and a So we got, you know what you get with him. Bybee, on the other hand, 3.6, 1.12. I had a strikeout prop in this game. They pulled him. Oh, he was angry when he got pulled too. He was upset. So 6-4, 4.2, 5.1, 3.04. Detroit's, he has not faced Detroit. So, but you see, his worst game was arguably, it could be his last game was his worst game, or it could be this one. So if your 4 is your worst game, that's not that bad. But you take out the best game, you're probably going to be closer to 2-ish runs, maybe 3. So to me, I think Bybee has better overall, but they're pretty close. They're pretty similar. Just like the bats are pretty similar, the pitchers are pretty similar. So all we really have here is some props to look at, because I can't take a side because nothing stands out in pitching or batting. I can't take over under because nothing stands out for pitching or batting. Everything's just too equal. So pop over some props at the outlier. Earn runs. I know he might pitch a gem and he might blow up. So I don't know. He might blow up and not know nobody. His strikeouts here, gives up some strikeouts. He strikes people out. The only problem is, going to the bats, neither team is striking out much. That's the only issue right now. So I know his EV. Ooh, I mean, minus 120 is what it should be. Plus 114 EV. 4.5. I'm gonna pass. Restraint. That's what we need around. Restraint. Hits allowed 5.5. That could be a play. Looking at Cleveland's bats, batting 9th with 4.7 runs. Props, he's only gone over 3 out of 10 though. That is concerning. If it was 4.5, I'd be all over it because it'd be 50-50 at least, so I'll pass on it. Walks? Nope, no walks either. Okay, let's go to Bybee here. Strikeouts, you can see he's a strikeout machine. 6.5 though. Yeah, I feel this is going to be like another get hooked at 6 thing. That feels like a hook. This definitely feels like a hook line. Hits, no, nothing stands out. Earn runs, nothing stands out. Walks, consistency, nothing stands out. Okay, I just broke the entire game down and nothing stood out. So this entire game is going to be a pass. We're going to move on to the next one. All right, next up, we got the Yankees and the Rays. Rays got the win yesterday. I think it was 5-3 was the final. And today they're favored. You have the total is 8 out there. Let's look at the bats. We see that 44.9 could be in play with these. Maybe we'll look at the pitchers, because Tampa's offense, even though they won, it was 5-3. The bats still weren't that great. So in the last 3, they're 24th with 3.3 runs, only batting 202. Yankees are batting 253 with a 5.7 runs. So Yankees still have the advantage in the bats. Don't care if they won or not yesterday. So 7.7 versus 9.3. Yankees have the slight to moderate advantage with the bats. Looking over at the pitchers, Mr. Zach Eflin here, 4.19, 1.15. Got blown up against the Royals last game. We see 4.54, 7.3, 7.2, 3.2. Not bad numbers, but not great numbers. This was his worst game. You take that out, you remove his best game, you get these games here, which is a 2, 2, 3, 4, probably closer to 2 to 3 runs given up. Stroman, on the other hand, Stroman has been triple fives here, 6-5, 7-4, 6-3. So he gives up runs. That's what we're seeing. He's going to give like 3 runs because you take out his best game. You take out his, which game is his worst game? This one. So you got 4, 3, 3, and 5. Okay, so you're closer to 3 or 4 runs given up for him. I don't trust Tampa's bats that much to take a team total over. Not doing that yet. Eflin, nothing is standing out here. It looks like they both give up runs. What's the total? What was the total in this one? 8? Bats, they had 8 yesterday, oddly enough. Today we have pitchers that could get them to 8. They could help them quite easily get to 8. I think I'm going to take over 8. I like that 8. That gives me a nice little push possibility. I like that. So we'll take over 8 in this one just because the pitchers both have potential to do that. I don't trust the side. Maybe just be straight out there. Do I not trust the side? No, because I don't trust Stroman. Stroman, I would take Eflin over Stroman because at least they're both not that great, let's be honest. So, yeah, I don't trust the side at all. We're going to take the over. We'll look at props, though, see if anything stands out. Let's look. Hits, 5.5. Oh, over. Oop, swap it. Yeah, 5.5 is, yeah, it's high. No. Okay, strikeouts? No. Stroman is definitely not a strikeout, dude. Earn runs, good. That's a real possibility. Wait, this is against Tampa. Tampa's offense is cold. No, not doing that. Does he walk? Sometimes, but 2.5 walks? No, I can't do that. So, no, nothing on Stroman props. Eflin hits. Going against the Yankees, 5.5 hits could be feasible. It really could be. How the bats doing? 14th and 8th in runs. Do I think 5.5 is a good number? We'll think. We'll think about that. Strikeouts, no. Earned runs, nothing. Walks? Damn, dude does not give up. Dude just doesn't walk anybody. Why? Do we take under Eflin walks? That just looks like free. Does this not look like free money? The whole season, he just doesn't walk anybody. All right, I'll do it. I'll take the bait. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. So Eflin under 1.5 walks. All right, sure. I will take the bait. This feels like bait, but I'll take it. So we'll leave. And hits over 5.5. If the stats there, I'll take it. I don't care if there's 6 plays in a game. I will take 6 plays in a game. If I have to skip 10 games, I'll skip 10 games. If the play's there, I'll play it. I'll play it. So, all right, for this one, we're going to experiment a little bit. We're going to take the over of 8. We're going to take Eflin twice. We're going to take the Eflin walks under 1.5 because this is just a crazy number. Yeah. Under, I mean, it's heavy juice, let's be honest, at 2 places, but I'm going to take it because profit's profit. Why not? And hits over is plus, and he's gone over this in a good bit of his games this year, and the Yankees are doing a little bit better. So we'll take the over 5.5 hits, under 1.5 walks for Eflin, and over 8 total for the game. Next game. All right, next up, we get the Dodgers and the Phillies. Phillies with the absolute blowout yesterday, and the Dodgers couldn't really do much. Wheeler to Wheeler left the game, so great win for the Phillies yesterday. You can see today that there's still a slight favorite out there. Over under is 9.5 currently. Looking at the bats, 43% Murphy. That's a pass because I say a pass. We'll have to look. Based on the numbers, it's a pass. Dodgers 2.7 runs their last 3 for 27th, while batting 223 for 22nd. So they're bottom 8 in both runs and batting average. Philly 3.7 runs for 23rd. 240 batting average for 18th. Both teams aren't really doing too hot with the bats recently, and 9 versus 8.3 on strikeouts. Middle of the pack there. So if anything, under might be a play. Let's look at the pitcher, see if they can help out with that. Sanchez is going out there 2.96, which is 12th in the ERA. 1.24. 777s. Lucky man here against Chicago last game. 3-0, 3-0, 6-1, 7-4. You take out what we do. We take out your worst game. You take out your pick a game. You got 2 best games. How about the complete game? And you still see his worst game's a 4-1. Yeah, he's probably gonna get 1 or 2 runs. That's what he's going to do. He got blown up. Pitchers happen. Sometimes you're not in game. That's what happened here. So clearly his competition is Stone, 303, which is 13th. 1-2, has not faced Philly. You haven't faced the Dodgers, have you? No, you have not faced the Dodgers. You have not faced Philly, so they haven't faced each other in this past few amount of games. 8-2, 4-3, 4-2, 4-0. He's pretty consistent. This was his worst game. Both pitchers' worst game was their last game. And if this is your worst game here, 7-4-4, I'll take that too. So to me, but he still gives up 2 and 3. Both pitchers are good. Let's just throw it out there. Both pitchers are pretty good. Sanchez is probably a little bit better. Just say it a slightly bit better. The bats are struggling, if you will, a little bit. So you can see there's a little bit of struggle going on. In this one, I like the pitchers. I trust the pitchers. How much do I trust them is the question, because the total's 9.5. I think I might take that under because the bats are struggling a little bit. Now, do I take the Nerfy is the question. That's a good question. And I'm not doing it because ever since they put Shohei as the leadoff guy, which I still don't know why they did that, he's been great. So I'm not going to take the Nerfy with Shohei out there. So if he was in the 4 spot, yeah, maybe, but not the 1 spot. No. I'm going to trust these pitchers to keep a low-scoring game. And the bullpens are pretty decent too, so under 9.5, I'll rock with that in this one. Other than that, I don't like the sides. The pitch, I think both bats are kind of struggling. I think both pitchers are pretty good. The under is what I'm going to play in this one. We're going to pop the props here just to see if something stands out, something interesting catches the eye. Let's do Sanchez first. Earned runs. Outside of 7, you see dude's been a beast all year. Strikeouts, neither team, they're both middle of the road strikeouts. It's kind of one of those, it's a toss. Like yesterday, it was a toss up. Let's be honest, it was a toss up, but then Philly just blew them up yesterday. The only reason I took Philly was there was the stats lean them that way, and then you had the whole motivation of Harper and Schwarber coming back, and yeah, and Wheeler had amazing numbers. So walks, nope. So nothing stands out for Sanchez. Let's look at Stone. Stone, nothing stands out. He's a pretty good pitcher. His strikeouts a little bit stand out, and his EV. Go back. Philly strikeouts 8.3. They're usually in the higher in the 9s. What's your number? 4.5. How many innings do you normally rock with? That's the question. It's 3, 9, 5, 7. Dude, we don't know how many innings dude's going to pitch. He might pitch 3. He might pitch the whole game. It's you can see it's up in the air. It is wild. 5. We don't know them, so we're gonna pass on that one. And hits, nothing. Walks, walks looks kind of interesting. No, we're gonna pass on that. It's not standing out enough. So for this game, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the under of 9.5 and we'll move on to the next game. All right, halfway done. 17 games, a lot of games to cover in one day. So this video was long. If you're still watching, hey, I appreciate you. So we're halfway there. Let's keep rolling. We got Oakland and Boston now. We see that Boston is a pretty heavy favorite, as they probably should be. I had Oakland plus 1.5 yesterday, and Bello comes out and pitches like Cy Young himself was pitching yesterday. It was crazy. Over under of 10. Boston hit that by themselves in the second inning because Oakland's pitcher just gave up the runs. It was hilarious. Sometimes the bet was so bad you just have to laugh at it. So anyways, we see, guess what? Oakland's number 1 at bats. 10.3 runs in their last 3 for first in the majors, while batting .339 for third. They had 9 runs yesterday to Boston. They almost made a comeback on Boston. I was 2 runs away from hitting my bets. Boston 6.3 for 6, 262 for 11th. Oakland's bats are still on fire. That's just, they're pulling on old school Colorado. They'll score a ton of runs, but they're going to give up a ton of runs. So that's what they're like modern day NBA. You're going to score 140, but you're going to give up 130. So that's what we're looking at. 11.3 strikeouts, including 15 strikeouts yesterday, but the bats are on fire. So high offense. That's my personal favorite type of baseball. High offense. Chicks dig the long ball. So let's pop over to some pitchers and see what we got going on. Oh yeah, Nerfy, no shot. There ain't no shot with a Nerfy with these teams. 0. So let's start with JC Penny Dillard Sears here. You can see 474 with a 127. Hasn't faced Boston 3-2, 7-3, 9-4, 9-8. A lot of runs. His last game was good. Let's be honest. 2 hits and 5 over against the Angels. Before that, in June, dude was giving up the runs. So that's interesting to see. Mr. Pavetta, sounds like my favorite type of cheese out here. Great game against Atlanta. Great game against Miami. That was Miami. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, but it is a pretty great game. But before that, he did have shown he can give up some runs. So the over-under is 10. Both bats are hot, right? Boston's hot too. Yeah, they're averaging 16.6 combined, and Oakland's batting 339. That's ridiculous. They're like, Oakland's wearing, they're dressed up as a Minnesota Twin right now. That's what they're trying to do. Oh, okay, so yeah. I mean, Pavetta's got the, technically, I would think Pavetta's slightly better than Sears. I mean, not too much better, but enough better. But I think with the way these bats are going right now, let's look at props before we decide anything. Let's look at some props just to see if anything stands out. K's, no shot. This is an Oakland pitcher. Boston, we might look at some strikeouts. Sears, nothing in the hits. Earned runs, I mean, he's only had 4 games past 10. Nothing stands out there. Nothing stands out there. Let's look at Pavetta strikeout. Earned runs is pretty, against Oakland's bats, that might be a thing. I don't know. 5.5 hits. Which walks? Strikeouts? Strikeouts. 6.5. You haven't faced Oakland, but I don't think it matters. 6.5 and you're minus 135, but you do give up runs. Tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. The over-under's 10. I am just gonna sit back, take the over of 10, and just hope that it's like a 6-6 game in the 3rd inning. Just take that. I don't want to take a side. I don't trust a side because yesterday I trusted Oakland. I still think Oakland, the bats are better, and the pitchers are kind of equal. So to me, I still lean Oakland. But today I'll just take the over. Well, over 10. We got tons of games today. We're not going to take props in this one. It's kind of weird. Over 10. Move to the next game. All right, next up we got Colorado and Cincinnati. You can see Cincy's a pretty heavy favorite. Over-under is currently sitting at 9. The bats, 57.4 for the Nerfy. Probably not. We'll look at the pictures to see if anything stands out. We hit it yesterday. That was nice. 2.3 for Colorado on the runs for last, while batting 211, which is 26 in the last 3. Cincy, 6.3 for 6, while batting 255 for 12. They're both striking out a bunch. They're both in the bottom 6 in strikeouts. Looking at the pitchers, road game first, 6.6, 162 for Mr. Freeland, 7-1 for 7 innings against KC. Not bad. And then June, 7-2 against the White Sox, and 1 hit, 6 inning against Washington. 3 great games. And then before that, you see we get down here to April. So we had a long stint of not pitching, but he comes back. He's pitching pretty good. I can't hate on these numbers. So especially for a Colorado pitcher, impressive. Montes, on the other hand, his numbers are good too. These are really good numbers. These are, I would say Freeland's numbers are better, but he's only pitched 3 games. His numbers are pretty good, and he's already faced Colorado and shut them down on June 4th. So it's been a little bit over a month ago. Do I expect him to pitch 7 innings of 1-hit ball again? No. But do I expect him to give it maybe a run or 2? Yeah, but not much, because look at the bats. Colorado's ice cold. So if anything, I might take the Nerfy again. I might do it. Because Freeland's pretty decent himself, and the Colorado's bats are cold. We're rock. Do it. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's done. It's decided. We're taking a Nerfy. We're doing it. Okay, done. Nerfy. All right, let's pop over to some props and see if anything stands out in the prop land. Now everything's set for last 10. I'm gonna bump at the last 5 because there's a big gap. We don't know what happened. Just focus on the last 3. It's hard to really do props when there's only 3 true data points, because anything back in April, that was April. What were you doing in April? I don't remember what I was doing in April. So pass on the April stats, but recently we'll just click through them real quick and see if anything stands out. You know, a couple 7 hits, pretty what you expect. Last 3, nothing stands out. So that's what I expected. So took 10 seconds. We learned nothing. So Montes, last 10 Ks, he has been under everyone except, but now you're facing Colorado. I don't really want to do that. Hits, Earned runs. I mean, he's gotten better, but okay, yeah, I'm not taking any prop in this one. We're going to take the Nerfy for sure. Do I want to take... I don't know if I want to take the under, though, because both Colorado's bats are cold. They did get 6 runs yesterday. Since these bats are hot, they got 12 runs yesterday. I think I'm just going to take the Nerfy and hope that the first inning doesn't do much. Sit back, 6 quick outs. That's all we need, and just move to the next game. All right, next up we got the Nationals and the Mets. You can see New York is pretty heavily favored at home. Total 9.5 currently out there. Looking at the bats, we see Nerfy's highlighted. It's in green based on what they've done this year. 70.3% based on what they've done this year. 2.7 for Washington, their last 3 for 27th. Mets 4 runs for 21st, both in the bottom 9 when it comes to scoring runs in the majors in their last 3. 248 versus 272. Mets are top 7 in batting average, so that kind of hurts the Nerfy there, especially the pitchers too. So 8 versus 6.7. Mets are number 2 in strikeouts. Washington number 11. So Nerfy's it's tempting. It's tempting. I'll say that much. Look at the pitchers, and we start with one of our nemesis. Everyone has their nemesis, and this is one of them. I got 2 active this season. Here's one. The other one's Lance Lynn. Look what he did his last game. The third, Manoah, but he's hurt, so we're not going to dog on somebody hurt. Not his fault. So, hey, but Corbin, I can say this season, dude's been outside of this Mets game, which ironically he's facing the Mets. Dude's been balling. He's been pretty good. These are good numbers for him. He's been balling out this year. He hasn't been striking out like I thought he would be this year, but the numbers are pretty good. So the Mets is the only time he's really blew up, and he's facing the Mets today, which is a big concern. His competition is Severino here, 3-8 through the 1-2. Same time, face Washington. 7, his game was much better. 7-1. He had a blow up there and a blow up here in these 2 games. Outside of these 2 games, pretty good game. So this is a weird one. Corbin has 1 blow up. Severino has 2 blow ups. The bats slightly lean the Mets because of the batting average and the extra 1 run a game. So right there, I would lean Corbin. I would say Corbin slightly better this year based on stats in the past 6 games. I would lean Corbin on the pitching. I would lean the Mets on the bats. They cancel each other out, so we're not taking the total. We're not taking the side because we can't really pick. And I don't know why the Mets are almost 200 favorites. That is kind of crazy. I have issues with Corbin in the past, but I'm not going to say he's going to be worth being a plus 166. That's too much. That's crazy. He's better than that. So we're going to leave the sides alone. And the total, both pitchers showing that can get blown up 3 out of their last 3 total times in the month. We'll probably leave the totals alone too. Let's look at the props. We have any props stand out. Severino first because he popped up first. Strikeouts is 4.5, and neither team is striking out much right now, so I don't want to do that. Hits, he is giving up hits. That is interesting. Washington is 15th in average and 27th in runs. So the bats are not the best right now, so probably pass on that. Earned runs, no, nothing standing out. Walks, so nothing's really standing out. Let's look at Corbin. Earned runs, 3.5. See, he's been good this year. He's only gone over 3 times. Strikeouts, not too much. Hits, no. Nothing standing out in this one. This is a weird one to me. And I will admit, I am slightly biased because when I say, one of my nemesis, I have a grudge from last year. So I will take that in my consideration. Nothing is really standing out in this one. I would lean that Corbin's better. I would lean the Mets bats are better. They cancel out. I can't take a total. I can't even find a prop I like. So for this one, for the entire game, I'm just going to pass on it and move on to the next one. All right, next up we got KC St. Louis Part 2, the nighttime game. They play first in the day game. This is the night game. So this one, St. Louis is favored by, or best number is 155 currently. 8 is your total. Looking at the bats, same screen from earlier because we don't have an update yet. And this will change based on how game 1 goes. So, but I'm obviously recording this way early in the morning on Wednesday. So you can see the bats. Again, KC, St. Louis is better in the bats, but KC's better in strikeouts. Looking at the pitching, we see Sonny Gray's going out there. Strikeouts, people are going to bet his strikeouts. I know they're going to go for his strikeouts. If you want to do that against the number 1 strikeout team in the league right now, be my guest. I will not be joining you in that endeavor. So, and have fun. So outside of that, he's a good pitcher. Let's be honest. That was his worst game. He still struck out 6, 8, and 5. You take out his worst game, you take out his best game, which is probably the ones here. He's still 3s and 1s and 2s. Yeah, he's good. Michael Waka here, still. Look at his game log. He's only got a few that we really want to look at because he didn't pitch much in June. He missed a good bit of time in June. So we got a 3-gamer. 3-1, 7-1, 2-1. Dude's been good since he came back. Can't complain about that. Both pitchers are pretty good in my opinion. The bats are still going to be warmish, hot. And see, the weird thing about game 2 and doubleheaders is you don't, game 2 factors a lot based on what happened in game 1. So like I know for Minnesota, Chicago, I took Minnesota money line, but the second one I took the over because that's what lined up made sense. This one, there's going to be a gap between the games, which is a little bit of a difference. Minnesota, Chicago is going back to back. Like they're going to end the game and start the next game immediately almost. So this one, they're going to have a nice little gap. So this is weird. I would like to see stats. I want to see what happens in the game. So nothing's really standing out to me. We have props we could look at, but game 2 doubleheaders are so weird. I try to leave them alone. So for this one, I'm just going to pass on this one and just move on because we have so many other games to look at. So pass on this one, move to the next game. All right, next up we got Miami and Houston. You see Houston's minus 225 is the best number out there currently. 8 is your total. Looking at the bats, 51.2 nervy based on on everything that's happened. 4.7 versus 3 on the runs per game in the last 3. Advantage Miami. Houston is struggling. Everybody hyped Houston up. They got to 500 all of a sudden. Yeah, they won yesterday, but I mean, the stats aren't that good. 229 for Miami in the last 3 for 21st. 198 for Houston in the last 3 for last. They are the worst batting team in the majors in the last 3 games. No one wants to talk about that, though, because it's Houston, but they struggling. 7.7 versus 9 on strikeouts. So let's look at the pitchers, see if anything matters here. Because so far, Miami has the advantage just on the bats. Looking at this pitchers, Brian Hoeing here has 1 game worth note because you can see now we're looking at before July. July 5th was the first time he's pitched since May 1st, so that's a 2-month gap. He only pitched 3 innings, 5 for 1. We don't know much about that. We can't do anything with that. It's almost like not knowing who the pitcher is. Well, it's almost like a bullpen game, maybe. I guess we'll call it that. Valdez, we can see what he does, though. He has not faced Miami, but we can see he's been blown up 1 game, 6, 8 and 3, 9 and 3. He's going to give up a couple, and then again, he might do. We expect a few runs out, just a couple, 2 to 3 runs probably max. Hoeing, we just don't know. Let me look at that. That's the stats because you really cannot count anything from April and May 1st. You can't count these. It's almost like they shouldn't be there. So, this one's hard to tell. So. I can see why. Actually, I really can't. So Houston has the advantage in pitching. Let's just break it down. Houston has the advantage in pitching by, we'll say, a good bit. Miami has the advantage in the bats slightly. They're getting 1.7 more runs, and they're batting 31 points better. Okay, we'll call that a slight advantage. So Houston's better in pitching. Okay, so does that math really math out to a minus 225? It doesn't. It shouldn't. Not a chance. So we don't know what to get here. So to me, I'm going to pass on that stuff. We are going to pop over to some props, which all we can do is Valdez props because I'm not looking at Hoeing's prop because he has 1 game. So Valdez prop strikeouts, nothing is standing out. Hits against Miami. The Miami's doing better on the bats. No. Earned runs. No. Walks, he does like to walk people, does he not? Oh, what's Miami's walks looking like? They're 8th at 7.7 strikeouts. You know what? I think I might be taking me a nice Valdez over 1.5 walks prop. At 1 Prize Picks and underdog. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, over. I like this. Yeah, I'm gonna rock with this. I think Miami can hopefully get 2 walks off him because that's hit. How's it hit the whole season? Whole season, yeah, it's been pretty decent. He's been pretty little wild the last few games. So okay. So for props, all we're going to take is Valdez over 1.5 walks. We're not going to take a side because the pitching advantage does favor Houston. That's advantage for Miami. We're not going to take a total, just the prop on Valdez and move on to the next game. Our next up, we got Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. We have Milwaukee as a pretty moderate favorite at home, 8.5 which is total out there. Looking at the bats, we see yesterday Pittsburgh put it on them. It was 12-2 final. Today, Nervy 64.3 based on what they've done recently this season. 7.3 runs for Pittsburgh in the last three is third in the majors. 4.7 for Milwaukee is 13th, so advantage Pittsburgh in runs. 248 versus 230, not much of an advantage when it comes to batting averages. 7.3 versus 9.3, advantage Pitt when the strikeout rule too. So looking at the pitchers, we got Perez going out there with a 485 with a 156. I took his strikeout prop for against St. Louis last time. He only got 2. That wasn't good. I got burned a little bit in that one. So 7-1 though. He did pitch a great game, let's be honest. He just didn't strike anybody out. But great game. 14 ground balls. That's impressive. Against Atlanta, 8-6. Got blown up a little bit. 4-1, 5-2. But we're back in May, so we really don't want to count those. So we have an 8-6 blow up and then a great game. So what are we going to get out of him? Probably the middle of those two. Probably 3-ish maybe. So Myers, on the other hand, 8-4, 7-3, 5-1. You can see what he does here. It is Milwaukee. Always got to watch out for Milwaukee pitching. They might do some weird stuff. Put a reliever to pitch one inning, and all of a sudden, boom, the starter comes in. It's weird things they do. So, he's pretty good stats. Let's be honest, great stats. Perez, we don't really know what the stats are because we don't count anything in May because it's too far back. So we expect halfway between those two. So I would say pitchers are about equal. The bats are leaning Pittsburgh. Nerfy is highlighted. I don't really trust the Nerfy with these two pitchers, let's be honest, and definitely not when Pittsburgh is one of the 3 hottest run scoring teams in the past 3 games. Adds a pass. What's the total? 8.5. I haven't taken a total in a minute, have I? I have not. Let's look at props. Let's look at the props. We can't look at Perez because he only has 2 recent games, so we're going to skip on him. Myers we can look at though. Earned runs, he has been lines 2.5. He's been under a good bit, but he's facing Pittsburgh, so I really don't trust that now. Strikeouts against Pittsburgh, no. Hits, like a staircase, no. Walks, okay, so nothing in the prop plan. Nothing looks good for props. Let's back up to the bats. Ooh, I just don't know. I don't think I can do it. Pittsburgh's trend line is off the chart completely. It's not even there. It's so high. That's crazy. Milwaukee's still heavily favored. This is a weird one. This is just a weird game. Nothing is standing out. Like I said, Pittsburgh has the bats. They're probably about and slightly, no, not crazy amount. They slightly have the bats. Pitchers are probably close, but you have one who's only pitched 2 games, which makes it weird. Nothing on the prop stands out. I don't really want to mess with a total. To me, I'm just going to pass this entire game and move on to the next one. All right, game 15, Texas and the LA Angels. Texas, slight favorite on the road to moderate favorite. 9 is your total. Looking at the bats, 46.6 Nerfy based on what they've done. Maybe not. 9 runs a game for Texas in their last 3, which is 12th. They're second in the majors at 9 runs. Angels 2.7 for 27, 345 batting for Texas, 202 for Angels. So we have a vast difference in runs and batting average favoring Texas, who's on a 5-game winning streak. 8 strikeouts for 6.7. Angels are striking out better, but that doesn't matter too much when you can't do anything else with the bats. Looking at the pitchers, we have Griffin Canning today, 6-4. He has not faced Texas, but he does like to give up at least 4 runs. So one thing we are probably going to go ahead and pop over now is it worked yesterday. Let's do it today. Let's come over to the odds, and we're going to go into the matchup. And we are going from odds, team props, Rangers runs. Let's find the nice middle number, 4.5 at -130. It worked yesterday. I think it might work today too, because they hit 5 runs, and you can see Canning gives up at least 4 runs multiple times. He had a good game against Oakland, but that's Oakland. Let's be honest here. So, Texas over 4.5 at -130 might be the play. I might do that again. So yesterday it was 5-4. They won the game. They're a bit on fire. Canning gives up runs. Let's see what Lorenzen does. Lorenzen had a 5-inning gem against Tampa Bay. 5 earned, 6-2, 4-3. Nothing else. Nothing. This was his worst game. It was against Baltimore. Outside that pretty stellar performance. Nothing against the Angels. So, what are the odds? What are the actual odds? So, scroll back down to Texas. There we go. 140. Okay. So we're going to go Texas money line, just straight up telling you right now. And Texas over 4.5 team total. We're going to go back to the well from yesterday. It worked great in this game. We're going to do it again. Let's go to props to see if anything stands out in the props. See, we want Canning and Lorenzen on the outlier. 5.5 hits. He's been under a good bit. He is facing the Angels, who are struggling. Maybe. Yeah. Under 5.5 hits allowed. Yeah, so we're going to add Lorenzen under 5.5 hits allowed. You can see what the number is there based on, go back here and show you the Angels numbers. They're only getting 2.7 runs a game. They had 4 yesterday. They're only batting 202, so I'm going to take the under hits there. It's a good prop. I like that. Strikeouts, not so much. Earned runs, nah. Walks, no. Let's look at Canning's numbers. Strikeouts, earned runs. That's one other one I want to look at. He's done four of his last 5 games. Yeah, we'll not do the prop on it. We already got the team total going, so we'll leave that alone. So, all right, for this one, we're going to take Texas on the money line. 140 is the best number currently. Texas team total over 4.5, and Lorenzen to give up to be under 5.5 hits allowed against the Angels. So those three total selections move to the next game. All right, game number 16 on the day. We have Atlanta and Arizona. Atlanta, slight favorite on the road. 9 is your total out there. Looking at the bats, we see that 50.9 Nerfy, probably not with these. Maybe not. Atlanta is getting 5.7 runs in their last 3 for 8th, while batting 255 for 12th. Both pretty good numbers, top half. 9.7 for strikeouts is 23rd, though. Angels. Arizona is 5 runs a game for 12th, batting 216 for 23rd, and striking out 7.3. So slight advantage Atlanta in the bats. Looking at the pitchers, Slate is going out there with a 6-1 with a 1.31. Has not faced the Braves, but the Angels roughed him up. San Diego's roughed him up. 5-3 against Oakland. Great game. Great 3 innings against Philly. 3 innings against, 3 hits, 6 innings against Washington. So you can see what you get out of him. Morton, on the other hand, 3.96 with a 1.25. Has not faced the Diamondbacks, but he's been roughed up a little himself. So we got 2 pitchers that either pitch gems or give up runs. And we got 2 bats here that are about middle of the road, slightly to the positive side of the road. And the total's 9. If the total was like 8, I'll take it. But 9, I don't know. So to me, on these pitchers, neither one is really standing out as better than the other. Slight advantage, Charlie. Just a slight advantage. So we have slight advantage to me for Morton, slight advantage to the bats for Atlanta. The odds are Atlanta 130. Do I really want to take Atlanta, though? That's the question. Because Atlanta is batting, Arizona's batting almost 40 points less than Atlanta. Only 0.7 runs, so that's not really a difference. Let's go to props. When all in doubt, go to props. See what stands out. Strikeouts. I want to see overs first. 4.5. You can see Sacconi's been under almost most of his games. Hits, no. Earned runs, walks, strikeouts. How's Atlanta doing on strikeouts? That's a good question. They're bottom 7. That he is not really a strikeout dude. And I don't really want to bet strikeouts against or with dudes that are not strikeout dudes. Morton, earned runs, no. Strikeouts. That was Arizona on their strikeouts. They're doing great. They're 4th right now, even though they struck out 12 times yesterday. So, leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Okay, so we're not going to do props. Okay, so this one's really close. It's Atlanta slight bats, Atlanta slight pitching, in my opinion. The props don't stand out. The total seems a little high, but I'm not going to bet the under because of the pitchers have been shown to blow up. To me, this entire game, I'm just going to pass on and move on to the last game. Game 17, last game of the day to talk about. It has been a journey. We have made it, though. Toronto and San Francisco. We have San Fran as a pretty moderate favorite. Over-under is 7. Why is it so 7? That's low. Bats, we see 65.9 based the Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 4.3 versus 4 on the runs. No real advantage, both in the bottom middle. Batting average 231 versus 216. Again, both bottom middle to top low. 9 versus 11.3. San Fran striking out a bunch. Toronto is middle of the pack. So to me, I see here both offenses lower tier seem to be struggling a little bit. Trend lines are not really doing their things. They're both kind of just going along with little bumps here and there. San Fran strikeouts. Might look at some Bassett strikeout props. Let's pop over to the pitchers first. Let's start with Bassett. So we see 3-4-3 with a 1-4-2. Has not faced San Fran. Fours. This is his worst game. 5-0. Yeah, he's been pretty good outside. This was his worst game against Houston. And Houston was hot when he faced him last week. So Houston's cooled off dramatically in the past few games. And Webb, you can see, has not faced Toronto. 7, yeah, he gives up a couple runs a game. Nothing's really standing out here. Bassett strikeouts, 3, 8, 2, 6, 5. Maybe not. Let's look at the props. Let's see what stands out. Let's do Webb first. Earned runs, nothing. He is consistent with his strikeouts, is he not? My goodness, it's either 5 or 6. That's what you're going to get with him. Hits, no. Walks, maybe? Nope. Okay, nothing there. Bassett, strikeouts. That's what I care about. Yeah, you're not a strikeout dude. And I don't want to bet a strikeout prop with a dude that's not a strikeout dude. So, yeah, you might get 7, but 5.5. If this was 4.5, perhaps. But even at 5.5, it's already yeah, see, no. Alt line 4.5 is still 205. Yeah, that's a hard pass. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't play with him. Can't win with him. Can't do it. Yeah, so hits. He's pretty consistent in hits. He does like to walk dudes. He's a walker. Okay. Chris Bassett Walker. But San Fran striking out so much. That's, you know. Riley's. Oh, okay. You know what? We're going to add it. Over 1.5 walks. 2-0 on walks. I'm going to add a few more walk props today and see what happens. So we're doing more experimenting with weird props like walks. Eventually we'll do pitching outs, but for now we'll do that. So the only prop we're doing is Bassett walks. Batting wise, the teams are kind of, they're struggling with the bats. Also with the pitching, do I trust a Nerfy? That's a good question. I don't know if I do. I mean, he gives up a few runs here and there. He always pitches 6 or 7 innings, but you know he's going to give up at least a couple runs along the journey. And I don't want him giving up a first run bomb to Vlad or somebody. So, and he's been up and down. We'll pass. So the only thing we're going to do in this one, we're going to pass on the side. We're going to pass on the total. We're going to pass on everything. We're going to take Bassett over 1.5 walks. That's it in this one. And that's it. We're done. That's it. All 17 games broken down today. I don't like when there's extra games. It throws everything off, makes the video super long, and then you have all this extra stuff you got to worry about. So, like I said, all the games are broken down. We are done there. Drop a like, subscribe, share with someone if you haven't. We've done great on the record. We're trying to make units. We had a slight setback on units yesterday, but the record was good. Today, tons of plays. Not as I thought there'd be many more plays, but there was a good bit of passes in the second half of the schedule. So. Also, if you like what you see when it comes to Outlier, you can pop on over. I'll show you the main screen here. You can go to Outlier, see all the games here. Check out the link in the description. You get to see all this. You get a free trial for 7 days. It's awesome. Go check it out. It'd be worth it. Trust me, because that's what I did. Other than that, you can see the games there. Let's do a quick recap. Can't forget the recap, people. So first game, this is going to be long. All right, KC and St. Louis game 1. We're going to take the over of 8.5. Minnesota, Chicago game 1. I'm going to take Feddy over 4.5 hits allowed, and Minnesota to win the game. Minnesota, Chicago 2, the next game. We're going to take the over of 8. Chicago and Baltimore. I'm going to take Shota, however you say it, to get over 4.5 strikeouts for the Cubs. Seattle and San Diego. I'm going to take Miller over 3.5 strikeouts. Cleveland and Detroit is going to be a pass completely. Yankees and Rays. We're going to take 3 things in this game. We're going to take the over of 8. And then Eflin, we're going to take under 1.5 walks. And we're going to take over 5.5 hits. Now, let me backtrack here because all of a sudden, under 1.5 walks sounds weird. Let me just make sure that's right. There was a lot of games today, so let me pop back up real quick and just check my work. Let's see, that would be Eflin. Let me make sure that number's right. I could easily type the wrong number in. Walks. Yeah, Yeah, no, it's 1.5 because of this right here. Yeah, dude just doesn't give up walks. So we're going to test the theory that this is free money. That's all we're going to do. So, all right, back to the recap here. There it is. Recap. So yeah, under 1.5 walks and over 5.5 hits allowed. Dodgers and Philly, we're going to go under 9.5. Oakland and Boston, we're going to take the over of 10. That's it, over 10. Colorado and Cincy, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to rock a nerfing in this one. We're going to root for 6 outs in this one, nothing else. Washington and the Mets, it's going to be a pass completely. KC St. Louis Part 2 is going to be a pass. Miami and Houston, we're going to take Valdez over 1.5 walks. Pittsburgh and Milwaukee, we're just going to pass completely on that one. Texas and the Angels, I got 3 plays. We're going to take the Texas money line. We're going to take Texas team total over 4.5. Same thing we did yesterday, same 2 bets. But today we're going to add Lorenzen under 5.5 hits allowed. We're going to bank on Angels struggling enough to not get 6 hits. Atlanta, Arizona is just going to be a complete pass. And lastly, for Toronto, San Fran, we're going to take Bassett over 1.5 walks. Now, the only thing I haven't done is the money line parlay, so which I like to craft right now. I like to look at the list. So we are going to take that Minnesota game 1. We'll throw that in there. We also going to take the only other money line I took today, Texas. So we're going to have a 2-game money line parlay. Ooh, really? Did I really only take 2? Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of props. I have some unders. Yeah. Okay. So the money line parlay is going to be Minnesota game 1 and Texas. That's it. So that's the full recap. If you watched the entire video, one, I appreciate you being here the whole time because I know this video was long. It was long to make. So I got up extra early to make this. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate you sharing this with other people. And if you have comments to drop, let me know what you're playing today. Always drop that below. You know I engage with the comments as best I can. So other than that, we will see you tomorrow.